Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MPCW Inside the Ropes. I am Chris Mack. I am joined at this time by PCW General Manager and one of the most loveliest.
Hi.
Lavender, how are you?
I am fantastic. I'm so excited for this pay-per-view, and I think this is going to be one hell of a night.
Absolutely. Got a lot of action going on both shows. ACW with the Go Home show for Beach Brawl. PCW with Summer Showdown, if I'm not mistaken.
Summer Showdown 2.
Summer Showdown 2. Got some big matches there. And we are also joined. It's going to be great night of action here. And we're also joined by my little sister, Miss Alec Valencia.
What's up, big brother?
Do you know what I just realized? MPCW as a whole is pretty much male-dominated when it comes to our live streams and stuff. But for once, there are more females in the show than males.
I am outnumbered this evening. You are correct. I have to be careful with some of the things that I say.
Now you know how it feels growing up with you, Malcolm, and Donald.
I don't know how you didn't kill them all. I really don't.
Oh, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this right here, because if you don't know, I'm about to inform you. That is my brother, your husband, Mr. Malcolm King, the GOAT, the greatest Insomniac champion of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you ladies have been paying attention or the fans have been paying attention to this, but the wrestling and sports worlds are a buzz right now, not because of a certain guy from Chicago. No. But Miss Lavender, someone you're very familiar with, a man that used to play football for Indianapolis. That's right. Mr. Pat McAfee is temporarily leaving the SmackDown announce team to join ESPN College Game Day.
Must we always talk about the affair? Must we always bring up how familiar I am with him? But I am very proud of him.
Well, the reason I do, and let's go ahead and cover this now, there was a mention that some of our superstars, phenomenal stars, were going to linger over in Columbus for the weekend, if you will. last week, and well, instead of anything happening that would require legal action, Mr. Bobby Wagner made a deal. His lawyers called me up when they heard this, and they're like, "Hey, look, they didn't want any smoke. Bobby Wagner said he was going to stop the bashing, and that in fact he sent his personal season tickets for the Ohio State game this past weekend, and he sent them to Casey Riddle and Jackson Law as sort of a peace offering, if you will."
Yeah. He's a smart guy, that one.
And I assured him there would be no trouble from our end, that those two would just go enjoy the game, and Mr. Wagner would be fine. And he was. I mean, I seen HHL and Renegade taking pictures together. I seen the mailman was out there, like, pretty incredible stuff.
And it seemed like it was fairly peaceful from what I've heard.
Well, what I hear, not only did Bobby offer up those season tickets, he was paying for the drinks that weekend.
Wow.
There he is. There he is. And luckily for Mr. Pat McAfee, he was not yet a part of ESPN College Game Day for that particular game. Although, who the hell is Jack Harlow? If you know, you know. But without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get down to what we're here for. Let's leave Lavender alone. I can't pick on her too much tonight. I'm kind of outnumbered.
Very true.
Let's get down to business. Match number 1. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to start it?
I'll go first. This match is a match I am very excited for. This being the Radical Championship match, the Thumbtack and Barbed Wire match. Sabrina scares me. As the female manager that I am, Sabrina is one of those that I try to minimize my contact with because she scares the holy hell out of me. That girl is scary.
I mean, she is part of the ladies division here in MPCW.
Yeah,
so
and
you have to deal with her quite a bit.
If I can keep the
and you know how crazy the asylum gets.
That's right.
Keep her communication to text, calls, and emails. I do.
Uh-oh.
Malcolm, love, you know how much I love you. You don't have to worry. Let's start the match. Here we see Sabrina is walking down to the ring, and she starts inspecting the barbed wire on every ring post and the edge of the ring, and she is laughing. And she looks excited for what the damage that will be done in this ring. And she climbs through the ropes and waits for Michaels. As she waits for him, she starts pulling things out of her waistband of her gear, and she's just emptying what appears to be small bags of tacks around the ring. She is laughing serial killer kind of style. Like, there is a lot of enjoyment coming out of her right now as she dumps these tacks. Michael climbs into the ring and starts punching Sabrina, who instantly has shut this down and screams in the face of Michael before clotheslining Michael onto a pile of tacks. And she's laughing over top of him at his suffering as he is screaming. He gets up, he is bleeding from his back, and he yells at Sabrina and hits her with a belly-to-belly suplex. The two of them start brawling, and they are throwing each other into the tacks. And it is very clear that Michael is already quite exhausted from this blood loss, but he is putting up a great fight for what he can. He hits Sabrina with an elbow to the gut. And we have seen this before, ladies and gentlemen. This could be the beginning of the God tier. He goes for the second one, but Sabrina moves and his elbow goes right into the barbed wire on the turnbuckles.
Ooh.
And he got a pretty gnarly cut there. And now he is screaming in pain. And this fires Sabrina up. And she hits him with her forearm smash, knocking him into tacks again. And she goes to the 1, the 2, and she gets back up. She could have had that 3 count. But it is very clear she wants him to suffer. So she climbs up the turnbuckles, and she is not caring that as she is climbing, she is bleeding, like, intensively. There is no cares in the world. She is laughing, once again, like a serial killer. She climbs to the top and lands a moonsault onto a nearly vertical Michael, causing him back to the match.
Ooh.
And he has so many tacks on his back now. She gets up and hits him with an elbow drop just for good measure before she goes back down for the 1, 2, 3. And our winner is Sabrina the Psycho. And man, oh man, if I must say myself, she showed why she is known as Sabrina the Psycho. The laughing as he is bleeding and in pain. That's terrifying.
To these.
Maybe there's a reason she's been in the asylum for a while.
I mean, she's been in the asylum for a long time. She is a member because they didn't disband. They just kind of parted ways, but she is still a member of the Dark Circus. She's what appears to be the last member around lately, but you never know with T Wolf and Crisis and the Ringmaster.
Anything can change very quickly.
And barbed wires and tacks, I mean, I gotta say, and I gotta say though that's as my brother CEO Donald Smith said, tacks are for kindergarten, especially for her. That's like she came out the womb playing with thumbtacks and barbed wire.
That does not surprise me.
I'm not dealing with her because Sabrina is also a part of the Witches Circle, the group who seemingly, and let me say this, who seemingly done away with the Saint of Suffering. So she is definitely not a lady to be messed with.
Should we jump into your first match?
Moving on, my first match for the Go Home Show for Beach Brawl was in Miami. You know how I love Miami. My sinuses are still, kind of clogged up there.
That does not surprise me.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ACW World Heavyweight Champion. I think that's Mr. Jackson Law there. Well, moving on. I'm sure we'll talk about him later tonight. There's already an electric feeling as the Go Home Show to Beach Brawl is opening up here tonight, and the crowd is buzzing for this opening match between Blackheart going up against the current ACW Hardcore Champion, Cletus the Bomb. I don't know what Mr. Law's referring to there. Somebody stole something from Riddle, apparently. I didn't steal anything from Riddle. There was a nice Cuban fellow I met down there that helped me out immensely in my trip. The two square up in the middle of the ring. The referee signals for the bell, and this one's underway. Blackheart listens to the crowd cheering for him and mouths off to Cletus the Bum, bragging. Cletus doesn't want any of it, and he lands a quick jab, pow, right in the kisser to shut him up, and then a European uppercut to the boisterous Blackheart. He Irish whips him to the ropes. And he comes back and he nails him bulldozes him over with a big back elbow, and the crowd is now behind Cletus the Bum here. Oh God. Oh God. Who
let Chaz in?
we don't talk about. Anyway, Cletus goes for an elbow drop, but Blackheart rolls out of the way. The two exchange lefts and rights, and a suplex is back and forth. They both stand in the middle of the ring, which has the crowd here in the FTX Arena in Miami on their feet cheering. Blackheart manages to get Cletus into the corner, and he climbs to the middle rope, and he lands some thunderous rights down as the crowd counts 8, 9, 10, and Blackheart hops down right before the referee finishes that 5 count. I'm not posting those. Yeah. Anyway, he hops down and he pounds his chest in celebration. Blackheart turns around and he's met with a huge spear from Cletus. He goes for the cover, but it's only good for one. The two go at it again. Another 10 minutes passes in this match as these two continue to battle it out before Cletus is able to block an overhand right and land a swift forearm right to Blackheart, jarring him. Cletus then capitalizes again. Irish whips him to the corner. This time nails him with a huge body splash. Cletus again Irish whips Blackheart to the other corner, followed by another big splash from Cletus, which leaves him Blackheart out on his feet. Cletus grabs Blackheart, and he lands a power bomb, and he damn near sends him through the ring. He goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner by pinfall, Cletus the Bum. As the crowd roars in appreciation for the two's performance, Cletus even extends the hand there to Blackheart as these two ended with a good code of honor right there.
I love Cletus.
I mean, Cletus, he's still got a lot of fire in him. And I mean, the final match of that best of 7 deathmatch tournament is drawing near.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be held at Hell's Harvest. We're going to have more on that as we get closer to that show. But right now, we are building toward Beach Brawl and match number 2 of the evening over in Summer Showdown for PCW.
It is our Legions Championship match with.
Now let's talk about this for a moment,
Yes.
Lavender, before you get started, because there's a lot to talk about there. Well,
What would you like to talk about? Oh boy.
Why
Well-
do I always have to do everything?
Well, anyways. Speaking of Riddle, as my brother mentioned, as Jackson Law mentioned earlier. Pardon me, I'm going to hear about that this week.
Best of luck. I wouldn't want to be at your family dinner. I think I'm sick at family dinner.
Well, you know, Thanksgiving's drawing closer, both Canadian and American.
It's true, but if you keep making mistakes like
And
that,
I don't know when Icelandic Thanksgiving is, but I'm sure we'll have to be at your house for that one.
And I'll make you all traditional dishes.
As long as we don't have to go to the Icelandic Phallic Museum again, I'll be okay.
It wasn't that bad.
It's a museum of penises.
And you enjoyed it.
I did not.
Should we talk about the match coming up?
Anyways, let's talk about what before we go into this match. A little backstory here. Casey Riddle and Renegade, they jumped Mason Stevens a few weeks ago, and Casey Riddle stole the ACW All Allegiance Championship from Mason Stevens. And it was told to us, however, that if Mason could defeat the returning Austin Kruger, I had to do that one time. If he could defeat Kruger, that maybe Kruger would talk to Riddle and maybe get him to give the belt back, which Riddle, I need you to give the man the championship back. Okay, it's not yours. You didn't win it. You didn't earn it. You stole it like the coward you are. Give the man the belt back.
Have you ever tried to reason with Casey Riddle?
No, I have not. He is a phenomenal star, so I don't really have to do that.
Yeah.
I don't. You can't
Just
reason
try it
with
and see how it goes. Okay, exactly.
But that set up this match. The man.
Oh, is he gone? What just happened?
I think he froze.
Well, I guess he'll have to miss the match because I'm moving on without him. Before the bell even
Move
rings,
on.
Mason is showboating Austin with a suicide dive, sending both men to the floor. Mason is first to his feet and immediately grabs the championship and starts heading up the ramp and to the back. Suddenly, the Phenometron flicks on, and it's Casey Riddle and Jackson Law on a yacht, it appears, and they are headed to the arena. Casey holds up an All Allegiance Championship and says, "Are you looking for this, Mason?" And Mason checks the title and realizes that is not his title. In fact, this is just a replica belt. The Phenometron turns off and Mason is visibly upset. He drops the fake belt and starts to turn towards Austin. He runs full speed at him, but Austin leapfrogs over him and pushes him into the ring. He tells the ref to ring the bell. Austin waits for Mason to get to his feet and goes for a double leg takedown. Mason reverses it into a code breaker. And Austin in the landing zone, Mason climbs to the top turnbuckle and connects with a trip to the bag. That's Swanton Bomb. Mason hooks the leg and goes for a 1, 2. Is this the end? And a kick out. For several minutes, Mason is dominating Austin. He sends him out of the ring and nails him with a front flip over the top rope. Mason whips Austin to the ring and follows up with the money shot, the KO punch. But Austin ducks it. Mason screams in pain as his hand connects with the ring post. Austin takes full advantage of this and grabs Mason's arm, which visibly looks like it's damaged, and pulls him face first into the ring post. Austin hits Mason with a Kruger cutter, that dirty deeds, to the ringside floor. Austin tosses Mason into the ring and pulls him back up on his feet quickly. He connects with another big Kruger cutter in the center of the ring, and Austin climbs to the top turnbuckle and connects a Juggalo Frog Splash. Austin hooks the leg with a 1, 2, 3. Winner is Austin Kruger. What do you think, Alec? I think that I kind of expected nothing less than this to happen.
I mean, you are correct, especially when you have two very combustible forces like Austin and Mason.
I expected nothing less, but here we see Austin pulls Mason to his feet and raises his arm, mocking him. He snatches the fake All Allegiance Championship out of the hands of the referee and puts it on Mason's shoulder before hitting another Kruger cutter. The dedicated music hits as the group comes racing out to the ring. Austin gives them the middle finger and rolls out of the ring before hopping the barricade and escaping through the crowd. I expected nothing less than this.
Well, upon closer
completely
inspection, though, however, I was informed that he didn't even have the real championship, that was a replica championship.
Yeah, you missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Computer issues.
Casey and Jackson have it.
On a yacht. I don't know
on
why
a
they're-
boat.
Yeah.
Who let those idiots on a boat?
Who let them on a yacht?
I heard they were eating
Charlie
nachos
Meltzer.
and lemon heads.
I wouldn't be
I blame
surprised.
Charlie Meltzer for everything.
Well,
That is a valid assumption. I bet Charlie paid for the yacht, paid for the replica belt. Charlie Meltzer is always up to no good with those boys.
You're talking to the woman that's married to him. Trust me. He pisses me off beyond belief.
I'm sure he does.
hey, you chose him. At the end of the day, remember that you chose him.
Unfortunately.
She probably chose him
Yeah.
before he decided to let Jackson and Casey Riddle go wild.
Well,
Before
that
he
was
started
probably
spending his
before
money.
he met those two idiots.
Mm-hmm.
And now I feel like she might be regretting letting Charlie Meltzer come into the wrestling world with his pockets full of cash.
I mean,
Mm-hmm. I mean, if he would quit bankrolling half the shit Renegade do, that would be great.
I can't help you.
well, I did hear he did pay for 2 first-class tickets for those two to go to the Ohio State Notre Dame game.
He did. Jackass.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, man.
I feel like end of the day, Alec climbs into bed and is scrolling, on her phone and stuff and goes, my bank says that we lost another $1 million. There's a need to transfer 10,000 to Jackson Law. Why is there this much sent to this person? End of the day, I feel like she doesn't have much control over his money, and she gets quite a shock before I get the shock when Charlie has paid for something for the boys to cause havoc. Before the havoc happens, she gets the shock. But yet, Alec, why am I never pre-warned about these things?
Because he doesn't tell me till after he sends it to you. Then he shows me.
Of course, he subscribes to the theory that it's easier to ask forgiveness than it is permission.
One of these days, I'm going to take a frying pan to his head, and then you're not going to be able to find him.
Well, I would rather not be listed as an accessory to that, so I'm going to act like I didn't hear that.
Are you telling me then that when he goes missing, we are now accessories to whatever missing things happen to him?
I don't know what she's talking about. I haven't heard her say anything about doing anything to anybody.
I agree. Maybe we should move on to the next match so we don't have to think about it too much.
Absolutely. Match number 2. Well, it was supposed to be a tag team match between Irish Pitbull, Johnny Rockstar versus Southern Heart and Casey Luchador. Mixed match pairing there. You've got Pitbull and Rockstar who can't stand one another. You've got the ACW United States champion Southern Heart and her challenger coming up at Beach Brawl. So this one was bound to explode. So let's get into this. Irish Pitbull is seen backstage attacking Rockstar, laying him out. Pitbull says, "To hell with you and to hell with this match. I'm not teaming with you." He goes out to his rental car, and he takes off. He's gone. Southern Heart and Casey Luchador end up facing each other. They begin to brawl, trading lefts and rights. wailing on each other. It got so bad, security had to come out and separate them. Southern Heart went for one more punch before they separated them, and she nailed a hard punch dead to Casey Luchador right before security got to him and broke him up. So that was that damn match.
The end, I guess.
I mean, at least it didn't have anything to do with Renegades, so.
I mean, Renegades is the bane of my existence, so I'm glad that for once they're not too much of shit disturbers, but we are only now 3 technically matches in, so I expect Renegades to be a shit disturber sometime.
Well, you never know with them. They're always around somewhere. Or maybe Riddle and Law had hangovers from the weekend that they had.
Maybe the yacht won't make it to the venue in time, because the yacht was headed towards the dock that's only... They probably were only 10, 15 minutes away, but maybe they won't be able to find a cab from the dock to the arena, and then we don't have to think about them at all.
Maybe they won't be able to find an Uber, and we'll be fine.
Shall we find out, I guess?
Or maybe they'll find an Uber, and the driver will be a mafia guy who just takes him on this wild ride.
Or maybe they find a pretty honey for Casey Riddle, and they get lost with the pretty honey. Who knows?
Who knows?
Should we move on and see what is in store?
Let's see what's happening on you guys' show, on Summer Showdown 2.
Well, this match is with James Rhodes and Trey Camp for the MPC Network Championship.
Ooh.
Yeah, this has been a build up. These two men are well deserving of the belt, regardless of how the match ends. Either one of them would win, and I would be proud to call them a champion. These two men show up, they show out, and they...
I mean, would you really be proud to call James Rhodes a champion for MPCW? Especially continuing to be the MPCW Network champion. Like, he represents all the shows, technically, with that. At least PCW and ACW. I don't think Asylum would ever, allow him anywhere near there.
You're right.
They would probably gobble him up.
Representing the whole company, Trey better keep it, I guess.
I hope Trey slaughters this man.
Trey needs to get this belt.
I'm not as quite as against misery as the former CEO of ACW was. I'll say that.
If Trey does not win, I'll be sad, because James Rhodes is currently representing MPCW as a whole, and I think Trey could do a better job at that.
I mean, he's a former tag team champion, former brutality champion, I believe, and I definitely know he is a former ACW All Allegiance champion. So the man's definitely has the pedigree to carry such a championship as that.
Yeah, let's go back to the ring and see what's happening.
Let's see what's happening.
Trey steps into the ring, and he is met with flying fists, and the men begin to instantly brawl. James goes for a quick DDT to Trey, but Trey gets out of the way. Trey gives him a standing drop kick, and both men kip up, and they are quickly brawling. James Rhodes runs the ropes and hits a running bulldog. That's a big move for the beginning of the match. Will this tire him? I guess time will tell. James pulls Trey to his feet to be hit with a spinning back elbow. James Rhodes is stumbling around, and Trey hits him with another spinning back elbow. And this sends him to the mat. Trey takes advantage and drags him to stand up before hitting him with that ace high, the RKO. And then Trey begins to boot James, who rolls out of the way to take a few seconds. Trey looks pissed, and he goes for a lariat. The two are struggling against each other, but they are beating the holy hell out of each other, trying to prove why either of them could be the champ here. Trey hits James Rhodes with a beautiful super kick, causing him to bump into the referee, inadvertently taking out the ref. Trey begins to climb to the top rope and hits a Chi-Town splash, but James Rhodes gets the knee up. Suddenly, DOA I Prevail featuring Joyner Lucas. Jackson Law is at the top of the ramp as his music is playing, and he is clapping. He starts to walk down the ramp and climbs onto the ring and gets into the ring. Law waits for James Rhodes to get to his hands and knees before drilling him with that sinner's judgment, that curb stomp.
Ooh.
So I guess I spoke too soon about them not coming to the ring.
Yeah.
And here we see the curb stomp, and Law pulls Rhodes to his feet before saying, "You're fucked." And he runs the ropes and drills Rhodes with a ace low, that V strike. Law revives the ref, and Trey hooks the leg for the 1, 2, 3. And we have a new winner, ladies and gentlemen. This is the winner and new MPC Network Championship, Trey Camp.
Wow. A big win there for the Deacon of the Church of Misery, becoming the new MPCW Network champion.
Congrats to Trey Camp.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Here we see there's some commotion going in the ring. Law grabs the title and places it on the waist of Trey Camp before applauding and raising his arm. The Dedicated make their way out, but security intercepts them on the ramp and escorts them to the back again.
Oh. Well,
so that
it seems there's Jackson Law is doing a little fence mending there.
Jackson is apparently, though he was a shit disturber to begin with, has a little bit of a kinder side, giving Trey his belt, I guess.
Well, Renegade and Misery, they definitely need each other with this new larger group looming over them in the Dedicated. Collectively, they're two dominant groups, but the numbers game here, as we've seen, just isn't in their favor. So they definitely need each other to be getting along for the moment, especially with that big match at Beach Brawl approaching.
True.
Mm-hmm. Which brings us to my co-main event of the evening, which seen a member of Misery against a member of the Dedicated as the mighty Mastodon, the Mammoth Mayhem, took on the biggest, baddest, sexiest motherfucker, self-proclaimed, in professional wrestling today, Big Sexy. And these two men went to war. Big Sexy and Mammoth start brawling outside of the ring as Mammoth rolls out of the ring. As Mammoth rolls into the ring.
Chris Mack,
yeah.
An aneurysm?
Okay, Mammoth rolls into the ring, just to get the match underway. He taunts, and Big Sexy grabs his feet. He pulls him back out, and Mammoth nails Big Sexy with vicious lefts and rights and receives a hard right from Big Sexy in return. They continue to brawl on the outside as Mammoth grabs Big Sexy and slams him into the ring post before rolling back into the ring. As then Big Sexy collects himself and quickly follows and gets in the ring as well. And now the match is officially underway. Both men were not in the ring, so now it's officially underway. Mammoth quickly gets to his feet, and he picks up Big Sexy, who stuns Mammoth, causing the big man to stumble backwards. Big Sexy presses the attack by Irish whipping Mammoth towards the turnbuckle and he drives his shoulder into the gut of Mammoth several times. But Mammoth is able to deliver a big elbow, drive his elbow right into the back of Big Sexy. As Big Sexy stumbles backwards, Mammoth goes for a spear. But Big Sexy is able to move partially out of the way. But Mammoth grabs him just barely with his arm for that spear. Mammoth goes up to the turnbuckle, and he notices Big Sexy is squirming but appears to be out. He climbs all the way to the top turnbuckle as Mammoth sets up. He's going for a bonsai drop, but Big Sexy gets up and he takes out Mammoth's legs as the big man lands directly on that turnbuckle right in the you-know-where region.
Yikes.
Big Sexy then starts to climb the ropes. He goes for a superplex, but Mammoth fights it off. Mammoth gets to the canvas. He gets Big Sexy on his shoulders, and he begins climbing the turnbuckles again. He gets to the top, but Big Sexy fights back. Both men are standing on the top turnbuckle. Mammoth grabs Big Sexy and delivers a huge belly-to-belly suplex, causing the entire ring to implode.
Yikes.
The referee has no choice. He's got to throw this match out. Both men are out, and this match is a no contest.
Between the two of them, how much force do you think that just exploded?
I mean, these are two very large men. You know, we've seen Mammoth Mayhem climb the Allegiance-tron and leap off of it on several Phenomena stars and ACW stars a while back, and they're still banged up.
Yeah, that's true.
And these men delivered enough force that the ring just fell apart from under them.
That's a lot of force. I've never heard of a ring imploding the way we just saw.
But before we move on, there was something happened. When I was backstage when this happened, I came out and I announced that the main event would then become a street fight. But if anybody interfered, whether it be from Renegade, Misery, or the Dedicated, they would be suspended indefinitely without pay.
So I guess if you were wanting to get suspended, if you needed some time off, this would be your time to shine, I guess.
I suppose you'd be sitting at home with no money, but, you know, you get a vacation.
No money, but a vacation. And if you're going to suspend them, what we probably, as the company, co-company, should probably suspend them from our work as well. I mean, you have the power to do so. But
we talked about this. I had to call Malcolm. I had to call Donald Smith really quick right before I came out, and they all agreed that if anybody interfered, all three.
Yeah. We are sibling companies. If you fuck over one part of the company, you fuck us all over.
It's true.
And
it is true.
A lot of our talent works for all three. So you mess up once, you mess up everywhere.
I mean, we've had several meetings this week alone before we even got to our shows for the week about situations like that. So, I mean, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings us to you guys' next match
Yes,
over on Summer Showdown Part 2.
it is the Iron Man match with Sarahby and Gunner.
Another match featuring a member of Renegade this time against a member of the Dedicated.
Yeah, you can look at it that way. And I just don't trust either faction to let their members fight their own battles.
I mean, usually when you see one, you see the other. So I mean, it's usually how this happens.
But I don't expect that it's just going to be Gunner and Sarahby in this match. And if it is, well,
We can only hope.
I will give each and every member of both factions a slight raise, a 2% raise. It's not much, but it's a raise if you can all just stay in the back. But let's see how this goes. Gunner has Sarahby pushed into the corner, and Gunner drives his shoulder into his stomach several times before Sarahby wraps his arm around Gunner's head and starts wrenching back. Gunner starts fighting back, and Sarahby goes to hit Gunner with a suspended suplex, displaying his power for a full minute before dropping him. Sarahby goes for a second one, only for Gunner to shift his weight midair, hitting Sarahby with a stunner instead.
Ooh.
Sarahby stumbles back, and Gunner is able to catch him with a schoolboy roll-up for 3 at the 16-minute mark. That was a long-winded match, but it happened. Sarahby drives a heavy fist into Gunner as Gunner turns the favor, and several minutes Sarahby switches it up and hits a knee strike to the stomach. As Gunner doubles over, Sarahby hits a gut-wrench powerbomb in the center of the ring.
Oh!
Holy shit, these men are just great power here. Sarahby goes for the pin with a 1-2, and Gunner kicks out. Sarahby goes for a crouched position just as Gunner is starting to get to his feet. Sarahby hits a Hellbite RKO, dropping Gunner on top of his head. Shit. Alright. Sarahby goes for another pin and hits the 3 at the 9-minute mark. The two men get to their feet and start slugging it out with each other. Both start countering each other and holding each other and hitting suplexes back and forth. And they continue as the time is winding down. Sarahby is able to hit a high one strike on him, causing him to stumble backwards. Just as Gunner leans on the ropes, he grabs a mic. Oh, that's not right. Leans on the rope. Sarahby connects with a vicious spear, and the time hits 0 while they were in midair. Malcolm comes, which I didn't even know he was coming, but he says they're tied. One for Gunner, one for Sarahby, and we are going to sudden death overtime. Falls count anywhere. The ref allowed both competitors to get to their feet before letting them resume. Sarahby hits Gunner with a clothesline, sending both men into the crowd. They continue to brawl for a good 10 minutes into the crowd, occasionally using the environment to their advantage. They make their way to the concrete doorways that lead to the storage area. Both men start slugging it out over the ledge when Gunner hits Sarahby in the stomach. He climbs onto the side of the railing and grabs Sarahby's head and falls backwards, hitting a suplex off the ledge and into a pile of tables. The ref comes to check on them and noticing both men have their arms draped over their opponents, and the ref counts for 1, 2, 3, bringing both men to the count of 2, but it's a sudden death, and that kind of means that neither one of them can continue because they're not moving, so I guess this is just a tie match.
Wow.
I didn't think it was, but this was sudden death, and they were already tied, and because both of their arms were over each other, I guess so. I guess this is something we're going to have to see when the men are healed, because We clearly need a winner for the wins and losses streaks and stuff for stats purposes, but that's not happening tonight.
Oh, we're definitely going to be having meetings about this.
Yeah, he's gonna be pissed that he called for Senator
Oh, yeah.
left. And I mean, he left the whole building tonight, and so he technically left you and I in charge, Chris. And he's gonna be pissed at both of us. I think I might sleep in the spare room, and/or get a luxury hotel for the night, because when I get home, he's gonna be pissed.
Oh, definitely. I'm going to have to lock
I ain't
myself
taking women on
away.
this one, bro.
Leave my phone on Do Not Disturb.
We're gonna switch over to your matches, but I just need a quick little pee break. So you continue, and I will be right back.
Absolutely. This leads us to
Like I said, you
our
can't blame
main
the
event
sister this time.
of the evening, which, because of the ring imploding,
You in charge. Behave.
with the ring
He
imploding,
doesn't know
I
how.
made this,
Haven't you figured that
and this is why, folks. Go ahead, ladies. Go ahead.
See, it's not fun being
Look,
outnumbered,
if
is
I
it,
get in the
big
middle
brother?
of you two's little, I gotta hear it from my new assistant Brooklyn later, and I'm not. I'm
Good
good.
Lord, that's another new assistant. That's your third
Well,
one this year.
I mean, she's more of a personal assistant than usual, but yeah.
Uh-huh. I don't need to know about that, thank you.
That she helps me with my paperwork. That's all you need to know.
I don't need to know that either. No.
I mean, do you know all the meetings I have to go through during the week? Like, you know how many meetings I had this week alone with everything going
Now
on?
you know what I went through. I know what you
We
went through.
fired people.
Don't forget that.
We thankfully navigated our way around and out of any legal action with Booby Wagner.
Well, that's a good thing.
Exactly, because I didn't need no more of him. But let's get to our main event. Again, the ring imploded during the last match, so I made this a street fight, and I also announced that if anybody from Renegade, Misery, or the Dedicated got involved, they're suspended without pay. All three shows, doesn't matter where you want to compete. You interfered, you're out. And before these two could even make their way to the ring, they began fighting in the back. They fought their way into the crowd. The security team had a hell of a job trying to keep the crowd back from these two, as they were using any and everything they could get their hands on against their opponent. Maddox even grabbed a beer. He takes a drink, and he took a drink, and then he smashed the rest of it against Tim Cyphers' face. Tim then speared Maddox against the barricade. He went for a clothesline, but Maddox nailed a back body drop to Tim Cyphers, sending him over the barricade and back first onto the concrete floor.
Ouch.
I mean, that had to hurt. He wasn't close enough.
This is why I don't compete.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I don't compete.
Maddox finally gets across the barricade after getting his breath back and collecting himself. Tim is still down on the floor. Maddox grabs a chair and he begins assaulting Tim, just waylaying him with this chair. The chair had a dent in it when he got done.
Ugh.
Maddox then proceeded to clear off the announcer's table, and he started pulling out Pokemon cards. and he started putting them
Oh,
on the
good
table.
Lord, Maddox.
And then he starts ruffling through the wreckage of what's left of the ring. Somehow he comes out with a staple gun. And it looks like he was trying
No.
to stay. He had a card. We couldn't tell what it was at first, but it turned out to be one of those Holy Grail holographic first edition, first set Charizard cards from back in the 90s.
Oh, good Lord.
And he was going to staple this to Tim Cyphers. But Tim Cyphers, before Maddox could get that close to him, nailed a super kick. And he sent Maddox back against the announcer's table. Tim lands a few punches, a few lefts and rights. He puts Maddox on the table. He puts Maddox on the table with his back facing up, his face facing down. And at this moment, I just knew that I knew these idiots were going to fall in my trap, but they were smart. Renegade came out onto the stage, but they stayed on the stage. They didn't interfere, but it looked like they were waiting for this match to be over so they could attack Tim. Tim climbs to the top turnbuckle, and he notices Renegade's on the stage, and he looks back, and he flips off Jackson Law, and he nails a curb stomp from the top turnbuckle to the outside to the announcer's table onto Michael Maddox. The table explodes. Cyphers is on top of him. He rolls over. Somehow he has strength left to roll over Michael Maddox, and he goes for the pin. 1, 2, 3. Your winner, the number one contender for the ACW World Championship, the real Tim Cyphers, but it didn't end there. It looked like Renegade was about to run down the ramp and attack Tim. When they get about halfway, the lights go out. And the Allegiantron lights up is the dedicated entrance music and video start playing. And when the lights come back on, not Renegade, but the dedicated have surrounded Tim like they made a barricade around him, standing there waiting for Renegade to come on. But they're just standing there staring them down, and the camera shows that Misery is in the back watching all this take place on a monitor. So our show ends with the big stare-off. Misery's backstage watching. They're not coming out to help. Mammoth's still down. But Tim Cyphers delivered a curb stomp from the top turnbuckle onto the announcer's table to Michael Maddox to secure the victory there.
That is crazy. That is insane.
It's a crazy way to end a go-home show, that's for sure.
It definitely is. I was waiting for the fight to break out.
Yeah, for sure. I expected something.
But the numbers were too much. Renegade played it smart. You know, I seen Law and Riddle talking, and Riddle kept telling him, not right now. And Law starts, he kind of shakes out of the aggression there, and he's like, you're right, on our time, not theirs. He knows he's still got Tim coming up at the Beach Brawl for the World Heavyweight Championship. Renegade and Misery have to somehow coexist against the rest of the dedicated in the Beach Brawl match. Mammoth could still be hurt. He and Big Sexy imploded the ring. Beach Brawl is heating up here. Which then sends us back to PCW for the remainder of their evening. Lavender, what do you guys have in store there?
Well, right now we have the Boundless Championship match. It is JJ Streeter versus Dominator, and I've seen the social media buzzing. I've seen the men talking. I've seen the locker room. This is going to be an interesting fight. People have big opinions about this match, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Well,
I mean, the Boundless Championship, that's like you guys is equivalent to the All Allegiance Championship, am I right?
more or less.
Okay.
I would say so. I think Boundless, it holds a lot of prestige. And so
Absolutely.
the talk is just very, it's tied, I would say. Some people think the Dominator could kick ass as Boundless. Other people say it has to be JJ. Some people are just tied in the middle of not knowing. What are your guys' thoughts? Who do you hope to see win?
Well, Misery already secured a championship in the MPCW Network Championship going to Trey Camp. So more gold over on that side could help the momentum going into Beach Brawl for these guys and continuing beyond that.
Very
You know,
true.
Misery at one time held all the gold in ACW. Now they lost the gold, but they're slowly starting to I can't talk, but reacquire. There we go. Reacquire MPCW gold here in PCW. So this is big for them.
This could be a big deal for them, for sure. Well, here we see both men are in the ring and the bell goes off. Dominator and JJ barely wait for the bell to stop ringing before they start going blow for blow. But JJ gets the best of Dominator and Dominator is on the mat. JJ looks at him and motions for him to get up. Dominator gets up but pokes JJ in the eyes.
Ooh.
Considering JJ was nice enough to let Dominator to get up before he did something, that was quite rude of Dominator, but that's how this is going to go, I guess. JJ is blinded and Dominator hits him with a spear and goes for the quick pin. The 1, 2, and there's a kick out. Dominator pulls JJ to his feet, but JJ grabs a hold of the arm and locks Dominator in a Kimura?
A Kimura? Kimura lock.
Yeah, that one. Dominator reverses it and goes for the Dominator clutch, but JJ slips out of the ring. He collects himself and gets back in the ring as he locks his Dominator clutch on JJ. JJ fights and struggles and even reaches for the ropes, but Dominator pulls him back to the center of the ring and clenches on the Dominator clutch on JJ, and JJ makes it to his feet and connects a straight jacket onto Dominator. That is quite the move, too. JJ
Absolutely.
puts Dominator in a rear naked choke, but Dominator is not tapping. The ref sees Dominator is fading, and he looks at Dominator, and he is out cold. And the ref has to call for the bell. So the winner and new Boundless champion,
There it is.
AJ Streeter.
Wow.
That was something. Those two men, blow for blow, they were like neck and neck. They were kicking ass. They were showing us what Boundless was all about. But like you said, giving JJ another belt for their faction means there's going to be a lot of build up and a lot of fire up for your Beach Brawl.
A lot of momentum there, but let's give it to Dominator. He didn't tap out, but he tried to hold on, but he couldn't. He passed out from the pain.
It happens.
Absolutely.
Well, we have our co-main event, and this is a very highly anticipated match, as it is a champion versus champion match. It is the Flower Princess herself against Christopher Tragedy. Like I said, this is a highly anticipated match. These two competitors are phenomenal stars, and this will be a phenomenal match.
I mean, Flower Princess is the MPCW Women's Champion. She's with Renegade. Christopher Tragedy's come a long way from when he first started here at PCW.
Mm-hmm.
And what championship is that he has?
Radical?
Ah,
No,
okay, okay.
no, not Radical.
No,
No, Radical, I think, or Brockus.
No, Radical Sabrina.
Radical Sabrina, I believe we saw that earlier in the evening.
Right. I should know
And
this,
Brackus
but
has that.
Let's see
And
here.
Brackus is ACW tag team champ.
Yes, with Nikki Hartman. We're going to see those two in action later tonight on PCW.
I'm not gonna lie, I
For
don't know what belt Christopher is currently holding right now.
Let's see here. Well, I'm not sure. We're gonna have to get the stat guys on that one.
I feel like such a goonie for not knowing, but I don't. Anyway,
Anyways, but we digress.
let's see this match unfold. Flower Princess is walking to the ring and she is determined and she looks confident. Might I say she looks quite cute as well today. Christopher Tragedy's music plays, but he doesn't come out. The Flower Princess is looking quite smug, like she knows something we don't know. The Phenometron flicks on as the camera people are going to the back to find him in the locker room, where they see Lon Kruger attacking Tragedy. The dedicated come racing to the back with chairs in hand, but Lon Riddle managed to escape with Kruger. And doctors state that Tragedy is in no condition for a fight, and the match will not happen tonight. So I guess we will have to see the champion versus champion match another night.
Well, there was that.
Guess
Of course, Renegades got to rob us of what could have been a phenomenal, pardon the pun, match here.
It could have been match of the month, but Renegades do their own thing. We've seen it time and time again. Charlie Meltzer gives them all this money to do as they please, and no matter how many fines is put on them, he just pays the fines and they move on with life. So even if there is repercussions for their behavior tonight, it'll be paid off with none of their own money because they are Mr. Meltzer's baby, and they'll move on. So I guess that brings us to our main event. It is the Renegades, Casey Riddle and Jackson Law versus the Dedicated, Nikki and Brockus. This is a match I have heard so much hype about. These two teams, these two factions, I mean, they are dominating phenomenal locker rooms all across the globe. They are causing havoc. They are causing the rumor mill to fly. And I am very excited to see what happens tonight. Well, both teams are going back and forth, executing a textbook tag team continuity. The CTC isolates Riddle in the corner and hits him with a double superplex. All three competitors are down as Law tries to fire Riddle up and get them into their corner. Brockus makes it to his feet first and drills Law with a clothesline from Siberia. That is his patent clothesline that people around the globe adore. The move puts him near in his corner where he reaches for a tag, but Law is still down on the outside. Nikki goes into standing in her corner as Brockus slowly crawls towards his corner. Law is breaking his way back up the apron as well and extends his hand. Both Riddle and Brockus make a hot tag. Nikki goes for a clothesline, but Law catches her and lifts her to his shoulders. He goes for a kneel at the altar, but Nikki wiggles out of it and connects with a heartbreak, that woman's right that we know all so well. It is something I adore about her. That woman's right is a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely.
Law is down as Nikki climbs to the top turnbuckle, and Brackus tags himself in and climbs to the top as well. Nikki goes for the heart attack, that 450 splash, but Law connects with the DOA, that RKO, and Law turns as Brackus makes a splash, but Law catches him, tags in Riddle. Riddle hits a struggling Brackus with a super kick. Law and Riddle drill Brackus with that bulletproof reverse GTS with a reverse stunner, and Riddle goes to hook the leg. Nikki tries to get in the ring, but Law catches her with a clothesline, and the ref gets to 3. Winners and new tag team champions for Apex, Renegade.
Wow. So now we've got the ACW World Heavyweight Champion and the PCW Global Champion are now, and the man who has possession of the All Allegiance Championship, they are your new Apex Tag Team Champions.
So how many belts does Renegade now possess then? I say possess because we know Casey isn't supposed to have that belt.
Well, that's 4 right there that they won. 5 counting the All Allegiance that he possesses. Flower Princess, of course, being the PCW Women's Champion, and 6. I believe that's it.
I think that's it, but if you think about it, 6 belts for one faction.
And then you combine, now at the paper at Beach Brawl, we're going to combine those 2 in Renegade and Misery, and then you'll add 2 new champions to that mix with them. That's a lot of momentum to this super group, if you will, going into the forward period at this point.
Yeah, but here we are seeing there's some aftermath chaos coming out. Law and Riddle grab chairs and motion for Brackus and Nikki to their feet. Suddenly we hear "We Are Taking Over" by DJ Khaled play on the PA system as the Dedicated run down to the ring. The Law and Riddle quickly get out of the ring as the Dedicated check on Nikki and Brackus, and they begin trash talking with the Renegades. Austin's music hits, and he drives a Fago truck down the entrance ramp, and Kruger gets out of the truck and grabs a hose. He flips a switch and nails the Dedicated with a Fago bath. Oh my gosh, this is
my God.
This is beer truck all over again, I guess. Law and Riddle grab liters of Fago and shake them and toss them in the ring, causing them to explode into my paid-for phenomenal ring. They climb on top of the Fago truck with Kruger, and they celebrate. And that is the end of our main event, ladies and gentlemen.
That is going to be quite, well, a sticky situation, if you will, for those 2.
I don't even want to think about how much.
I mean, they could have got. I think a couple of those bottles caught Nikki and Brackus in the head, and like body shots also, because Riddle and Law would take them, barely open them, shake them up to get that pressure going, and just launch them.
Mm-hmm.
And they exploded in the ring on CTC here, and good God.
I don't want to think about the cleaning bill, the medical bills.
I mean, it was like an ICP concert with Fago Armageddon there.
I can't even believe that a Fago truck. Why couldn't they just got a high-pressured water truck? That's a lot easier to clean up.
Well, I mean, it's Renegade. They really going to take the easy route for you?
Renegades, I tell you, they are always ruining the end of a good show.
I tell you what. Well, folks, as my brother always says it's about time to cut it out. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned to social media. The cards will be up soon, and we'll see you next time here on the MPCW Network.
Bye.